So my name is Irina Volkova, and first I will show you improvements in Clang-tidy support in our code generator. So we have under Windows preferences, real-time development, build transformation C++. We have this checkbox, code compliance Clang-tidy. When it is checked, then we try to generate code that will be compliant with the Clang-tidy checks. And in many cases, it will just result in us adding suppression comments in the generated code for the places that we know are correct. So to avoid having warning messages on the generated code. For example, in this case, now I will open source code body. So you can see, for example, this is an example of how these comments look like. This will suppress unused parameters because this is a piece of our generated code. And also here at the end, you can see that for this data type, we also suppress bugprone-sizeof-expression. For this size of construct. So this is always generated to a type descriptor, and we are sure that this code is correct. And we don't want to get these warnings for size of, because they are generated when the type, the actual type is a pointer. And in this case, I have a type def, which is defined as a pointer. So if we don't generate this, then there will be a warning message reported. But obviously we don't want it. We want warning messages only for the user code, but this is the code generated automatically. For the type descriptor. So we have had support for this bug-prone-sizeof-expression already in the previous delivery, but at that point we were generating these suppressions only for type defs and type aliases. So for example, this is a type alias. It is also defined as a pointer, and if we check generated code, then we can also see here that for size of, the suppression is also generated. But recently it turned out that it is also possible to define a class that it will become a pointer. And in this sprint, we have extended the generation of these comments, so they're also generated for classes. And this is an example how a class can become a pointer in the generated code. So this class 3 type def on C++ general, we have a checkbox generate class. By default, it is checked, but if you uncheck, the class definition will not be generated for this type. But instead, it is possible to define anything you want in the header preface. And in this case, in the header preface, I have defined this as a type def. And then in the generated code, it will also turn out to be a type def. And for this case, we also need a suppression. So now we have extended the scope where we generate this kind of special comments, and for classes we are also including them to cover such special situations that are possible in the user models. So if we hover here, we see that it is actually a type def and it comes from the user code. So we don't know how the type will be defined. So these comments will be included for all classes. In some cases, maybe it's not necessary, but anyway, we are sure that this is generated code, this is not user code, and we don't want to get warnings in this code. So it's fine to include it always for all classes.